Richard Trenton Chase, infamously known as the Vampire of Sacramento, remains one of the most disturbing figures in American criminal history. Between December 1977 and January 1978, Chase committed 6 brutal murders in Sacramento, California, earning his nickname due to his obsession with drinking the blood of his victims. His chilling crimes shocked the nation, raising important questions about mental health, criminal behavior, and gaps in systems designed to protect both individuals and society. While much of the focus on Chase revolves around his horrific actions, understanding his life before the crimes reveals a deeply troubled individual. This post examines the arc of Richard Chase's life, from his early struggles with mental illness to the violent crimes that brought it to a tragic and bloody conclusion. Born on May 23, 1950, in Sacramento, California, Richard Chase grew up in a household marked by conflict. His parents argued frequently, occasionally to the point of volatility. Though his father's physical discipline was considered consistent with parenting norms of the time, Chase's mother exhibited paranoid behavior, often accusing her husband of infidelity and even sabotage. This tense environment likely influenced Chase's development from an early age. By the age of 5, Chase was already exhibiting troubling signs that would later gain attention through the McDonald Triad, a theory correlating childhood behaviors like animal cruelty, fire setting, and bedwetting with future violent tendencies. Although he initially appeared socially adjusted, his inner struggles were already taking root. Chase's teenage years hinted at what was to come. He became a heavy drug user, turning to substances like marijuana and LSD. During this time, physical and emotional issues began to emerge. He suffered from impotence, which left him incapable of maintaining romantic relationships and deepened his isolation. His difficulty connecting with others became a defining feature of his life. Chase's peculiar behaviors, such as walking around his home naked or obsessing over historical outlaw gangs like the James Younger Gang, grew increasingly alarming. By adulthood, Chase was withdrawing further from society, his mental health deteriorating in tandem. After graduating high school and briefly attending American River College, Chase's fragile grasp on reality started unraveling. He became obsessed with his perceived physical ailments, convinced that his heart had stopped beating or that his pulmonary system was irreparably damaged. These fears led him to bizarre behaviors. His relationships degraded further. Roommates described Chase as erratic and unsanitary, often walking around naked or aggressively invading their personal spaces. These behaviors prompted his roommates to move out, worsening his isolation. Frequent clashes with his parents deepened his paranoia, particularly his belief that his mother was trying to poison him. By 1976, Chase's actions became increasingly severe. He began killing and consuming animals, believing that drinking their blood would cure his imagined physical problems. His second commitment to a mental institution came after he injected himself with rabbit blood, a decision that nearly killed him from blood poisoning. Institutional staff at the time nicknamed him Dracula due to his fixation on consuming blood. Yet despite alarming behavior, Chase was released into his mother's custody, a decision later criticized by medical professionals. Chase's violent tendencies began to escalate rapidly upon his return to Sacramento. With his mother discontinuing his medication, his condition worsened significantly. He continued killing animals, progressing from rabbits to dogs, and collected their blood for consumption. Neighbors noted his bizarre behavior, such as wandering aimlessly with blood on his clothing and avoiding human interaction. Still, his most heinous crimes were yet to come. On December 29, 1977, Chase committed his first known murder, shooting 51-year-old Ambrose Griffin in a random drive-by attack. This act signaled the beginning of a month-long killing spree that would cement his legacy as a notorious serial killer. On January 23, 1978, Chase broke into the home of Teresa Wallen, a young pregnant woman. Her brutal murder involved both necrophilic and cannibalistic acts, with Chase later claiming he wanted her blood to nourish himself. Just 4 days later, he slaughtered the Meroth family, killing Evelyn Meroth, her young son, her nephew, and a family friend. This finale in his spree highlighted the unhinged nature of his attacks, as he mutilated bodies in horrific ways before fleeing with the infant's remains, which he later consumed. The sheer brutality of these crimes shocked law enforcement. Evidence left at the scenes, such as bloody footprints and handprints, helped investigators connect the attacks and track Chase's movements. Witness accounts and police efforts to profile the killer eventually led to Chase's capture. Known to neighbors for his disheveled appearance and erratic behavior, he was arrested at his blood-soaked apartment, which contained organs, dog collars, and blood-covered utensils. Investigators also found a calendar on which he had marked several planned dates for further killings. Chase's sanity became a focal point of his trial in 1979. Despite his history of mental illness, the prosecution argued successfully that he was aware of the wrongfulness of his actions. Wearing rubber gloves during the crimes to avoid detection was one key argument for premeditation. Ultimately, Chase was convicted of 6 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to die in the gas chamber. On December 26, 1980, while imprisoned at San Quentin, Chase was found dead in his cell. He had overdosed on Sinequan, a prescription medication for his mental health symptoms, though it is still debated whether his death was a case of suicide or accidental poisoning. Chase's crimes remain a chilling reminder of the consequences of untreated mental illness and the gaps in institutional systems. His case also served to advance studies in criminal psychology, with FBI profiler Robert Ressler using Chase's profile to refine behavioral analysis techniques. Richard Chase's horrifying actions cannot be excused, but they do illuminate systemic failures in addressing severe mental health issues. His life story reveals missed opportunities for intervention and illustrates how untreated illnesses can have catastrophic consequences. From medical professionals overlooking the severity of his condition to his family struggling with inadequate support, Chase's path to violence was forged as much by neglect and misunderstanding as by his own disturbed mind. Examining cases like Chase's emphasizes the need for stronger mental health resources, early intervention strategies, and collaborative societal efforts to support individuals at risk. By understanding his life alongside his crimes, we can work to address the gaps and ensure that history does not continue to repeat itself. Richard Chase's horrifying actions cannot be excused, but they do illuminate systemic failures in addressing severe mental health issues.